Hi. We're back with something else to say. Um, Last week we talked about Michael's innocence being interpreted as naivety. And so this is kind of like an extension of that. It's a wider um, topic about, the other things that Michael did that make people uncomfortable, um, and how those things were also misinterpreted, what the real meaning behind them is, what we have to learn from them, and a different way of looking at them.
It seems to me, Michael always made us uncomfortable. He tried to make us uncomfortable. He made everybody uncomfortable, the whole world uncomfortable. That's why people wanted him to stop. People don't like to be uncomfortable. We don't change when we're just, going along the way we already are going. What makes us change is being uncomfortable. And so that's what he was doing for us, is showing us that, and making us uncomfortable, making us think, and making us decide how we felt about things. And so that was not a mistake he made. That was his purpose. That's what he was trying to do. And so when we look at his actions or his decisions and think that he shouldn't have done them because we're not comfortable with them, or because we think he should have fit in better, then really that's completely the opposite of what his purpose was and what he was trying to do. Whether it's something physical like too much plastic surgery, or his actions were too, he was trying to, floating a statue down a river is too egocentric or whatever, those kind of things. He made us look at ourselves. He wanted us to look at ourselves and ask, why does that matter to you? Why does it matter to you what kind of plastic surgery I've had? Like, who I am inside is who I am. It's not the physical. It's not the things that I've done outside that have nothing to do with you. So I don't know. It's a huge area that people want to say he was wrong so that they don't have to think about it anymore. They just want to get comfortable and say, well, he must have been wrong about that. And so now I can just go on and live my life.
Yeah, Michael's, if he had any fears, I would say comfort was one of them. He did not want people to be comfortable because he knew that comfortable people are stagnant, and he always wanted to give us opportunities to expand ourselves, to be more, to become our best selves, and comfort um, does not promote that. So everything he did was big and bold and out of the ordinary, because he wanted us to examine um, the, the things that the confines that we put around ourselves, the boxes that we put around ourselves. And why do you think that way? Why does it matter? What's too much plastic surgery? You know, um, what's what's inappropriate, and why do you think that? And often we really don't have anything to base it on other than it's what somebody told us when we were little. That's inappropriate, or and so we live our lives confined in these little boxes that we seem to be not even really aware of, because they've been there since we were little, since we were children, since as far as we can remember. You behave this way in public. Um, Boys don't wear that. Girls don't do that. Um, this is an appropriate way to express your feelings. Um, that kind of thing. And so Michael wanted to shake up um, all those boxes that we um, build around ourselves, and have us examine them so that we can. He wanted to set us free. He wanted us to step outside of those confines and explore ourselves. Artists tend to have um, bigger boxes, or really want to push the confines of society, and they challenge us because the way they express themselves, sometimes really challenging us to either are offending people sometimes even, which we think is we judge, um, and that's the whole point of it, to um, is to get us to examine why we set these parameters for ourselves, and to realize that they are just holding us back. They give us permission to judge ourselves and others, and they keep us from learning things about ourselves that would help us, or would make us discover something about ourselves, discover something bigger about ourselves, and ways to express that.
So the things that he did that we look at and want him to fit in more are part of who he is and who he was when he was here. So to ask him to want him to not do that at the same time as we want him to be a creative genius and we want him to be, you know, himself, someone we can, take what he's giving us, take the good things that we like, his music, his genius, but then the parts of him we don't really agree with, we want to separate that and say he made a mistake. But he didn't make any mistakes. All of it was who he was. All of it was to give us these gifts, and attracting attention to himself, wanting us to look at him, was because the more people would be looking at him, the more opportunity they had to learn from what he was showing us. So it's very shallow to look at someone from the point of view of what you know so far, when obviously we all are here to learn more. So learning from him, from what he gave us, is huge. There's nobody like him. There's no one that lived like him. We have to look at his life as what we did to him, not what he did wrong. What did we do to him? What did we took this beautiful, innocent creature and judged him and hurt him, and when all he was doing was loving us and offering us a chance to change and grow and learn. And what we did to him is what we should be looking at. How we looked at him was what we should be looking at, not the mistakes that he made.
Yeah. Yes. He's an example of a human being that was gentle and loving and kind and open-hearted and authentic, and bearing his soul in the way that he lived and in his art. And for him to be targeted and judged and misunderstood, or just alienated, are all things that they don't say anything about Michael. Though our opinions of him speak of ourselves. They tell us how tolerant we are of people. That he when he began his career, he was amazing, and didn't we all love it because he was different, and we've never seen anything like him. And then at some point, somebody draws a line and says, "This is too much. This is too different. This is too outside of normality." And one person draws the line there, and somebody draws it 5 years later, and somebody draws it 10 years later. Some don't draw it at all. Some look at Michael and think he had lots of plastic surgery. Some say there's not really that much difference, and he was always beautiful, no matter what you think about whatever changes he made to himself physically, And even if he decided to completely alter himself into something crazy, uh, what's that got to do with us? The statement is that we should have the freedom to express ourselves fully, um, and to not put these confines on ourselves or on one another. As we don't even think about where those things came from, and why we do it. We just have these preset standards, and somebody stepping outside them a little bit, we kind of look up to them. But then when we become uncomfortable in ourselves, then we begin to condemn them for it. And so Michael was. He didn't mind that, he loved it. Actually, he did it more. The more we judged him, the more we said it was too much, the more he did it, because that's what he's looking for. He's looking for a reaction. He's looking for us to consult our fears, our need for comfort, and the reason that we and ways that we separate ourselves from others. Were you going to read that?
Well, it just reminded me of the song "Is It Scary?" because this song is really meaningful to me. Because he says, "I'm going to be exactly what you want to see." So that's what we do to him. Whatever we see in him is really a reflection of what we're looking at in ourselves, what we don't like about ourselves, what we don't want to admit about ourselves. So,
or what we're uncomfortable with. It just highlights our insecurity or our fears.
Yeah. So he says, "Is that scary for you?" Yeah, it's scary for us because we don't like that. Like it says, the lyrics that I saved are just not right. Like I saved them online and they are not right. But a mirror reveals the truth. See, the evil one is you. Is that scary for you, baby? Like he just was there to show us ourselves. Let the performance start. It's such a beautiful song. It's, yeah, I don't know. It's just the way we look at him is, if we could just turn it on to ourselves and learn from that. That's what he wanted to do. And when it's hard to do that. It's hard to do that because you can say, well, he was too feminine, or why did he turn white? Like even that people don't understand. That even something that is physically not able to be helped, but everything he did was challenging to society, and so couldn't take it and had to squelch him. But what he has to offer is so beautiful and so big, of how to love each other, how to love the planet and the animals and the children, and make a difference and give, be generous, be loving. Like, why are we not focusing on those things? No one denies that he was all of those things. So why is it more important how many plastic surgeries he had than all of those beautiful things that he did for all of us? Like, we need to focus on the gifts that someone gives and not the...
And then whatever comes up when we look at Michael that makes us uncomfortable, or makes us think, oh, I wish he hadn't done that, or why, that didn't help. That instead of looking at him and saying, I wish he hadn't done that, then look at inside ourselves and say, why does it bother me that he did that? Because what that's doing is bringing out something in yourself, in your spirit, that needs to be healed. And that, a lot of things that we reject in other people are based on our own fears. They're not like me. I don't understand that. And when we don't understand something, or something's different from us, we become fearful, and then that comes out in all kinds of different ways, anger, or, and whether, and maybe it's not just Michael, but Michael is, it's definitely not just Michael, but Michael is a beautiful example of, I feel he lived his life intentionally this way. That it wasn't that he was just this way and didn't fit in. I think he was conscious of not fitting in and conscious of making us uncomfortable. I'm just thinking off the top of my head here about the book Poetica by Willa Stillwater. It's available on Amazon still, I believe, only in Kindle version, but in ebook. But if you get a chance to read it, it's not a spiritual book, but she's a very intelligent, wonderful writer and deep thinker who examines Michael's example in this way, in that he intentionally presented himself in ways that would challenge people's fears and discomfort, and with the intention of getting us to reflect on ourselves. And when something frightens you, you either run away or you confront your fears. And so Michael was constantly there, asking us to confront our fears, and that. He sacrificed a lot for that. His reputation, his privacy, his life, really. And what a great gift! I mean, what a sacrifice to make yourself a target, to help others, to set them free, and it's such a waste of that gift if we minimalize it, if we say, I love him and maybe he was different and maybe I don't understand why he did those things, but that's okay. It's beautiful to love somebody regardless, but what about looking inside ourselves and saying, I love this person and everything about them is beautiful. Why does this bother me? What is it in me that can't accept this? Or what is it in me that needs to grow and needs to expand? And he's constantly challenging us, even now, in our own lives. And so I just feel it's so important to recognize that when we, and not just in Michael, but then you can carry it out to everything in life, other people with other religions, or, whatever is confrontational to you, personalities and beliefs and appearance. You don't have to cross the street when you see somebody who has tattoos or whatever makes you uncomfortable. You can start asking yourself why you feel that way, and learning more about yourself and about your own spirit, and the freedom in facing your fears and realizing that many are self-created. That they're only inside our heads and inside our hearts, and that if we look at them and think about them and hold ourselves responsible for the for these things that cause us to judge and exclude and be fearful, is to take responsibility for that, and then learn to expand, and it expands your circle, and suddenly the world is a different place, and your friends are different people, and you realize how amazing having such diversity in our planet and in our lives.
What Michael did was always to learn to love each other. His goal was to heal the world, and healing the world, like he said, is you have to start with healing your own heart, and also that we are one, that we are all one. He really believed that. He really knew that, because it's true. So anything that separates us, which is all of our differences, those are the things that need to be looked at. So that's what he was doing, showing us, here's somebody different. Let's look at it. Let's look at it. Let's look at it. And now we can still do it. We can look at each other. We can look at, like she said, different religions or different everything different. We're all so different, but we're also so much the same. So everything that keeps us apart is things that we don't know. It's our fears about people that are different, people who have tattoos, or people that have a different religion, or live in different countries, or have a different sports team. Like, oh, there's so many things that we use to divide ourselves from one another. And he wanted to erase those. And the way to erase them is to look at them with looking at him and looking at each other and realizing how they don't matter, and realizing that our hearts are the same and our goals are the same, and that all everybody wants is to be loved. And we don't have to travel the world like he did to find that out. We know it. Like, you just,
the diversity is in our lives every day. Like Michael, is he a child? Is he a grown up? Is he black? Is he white? Is he feminine? Is he masculine? You can put him in. He would not allow us to put him in a category, and that made us really uncomfortable, because that's what we do. We categorize people, and he's calling us to he's calling us out on that. What are you basing that on? Let's talk about it. Let's look at it. Look in yourself and think about why you're doing that. Because like Brenda said, he was all about love and erasing those lines, blurring those lines, and that separation disappears. You realize it wasn't really there in the first place.
so the people, people like to kind of claim him like he's ours, like he's black, and then he wasn't. So then what is he? Is he like people? Everyone feels connected to him because he's like them in different ways. And then as soon as you feel like you own him, that he belongs to your group, then he doesn't anymore. Like, he belongs to everyone and no one. So that's what we all are. We all belong to each other, and we all are our own selves, which is why we have to look at ourselves, heal our own hearts. We don't have to go out and tell everyone else to change. We just have to change us, and it grows, it expands. Our circle of compassion grows and includes more and more animals, people, the planet. That's the way to heal the world. And that's the way children are, and that's what Michael loved about them. He wants us to return to that, and that's what he was showing us. Yeah, what a great example, and what a huge sacrifice he made to teach us those things.
Yeah, and it's just so selfless, to make yourself a target, or to be, even just his art. I'm thinking right now, to you can look at a song like, I don't know, some people might look at a song like Scream and say, like, there's a lot of anger channeled into that, and it was inappropriate, and but somebody else can look at it, and I look at it this way, because I feel I respect art, and I understand that to take something like anger, something negative, that and channel it into art, into something that can be used to connect to people. If you're feeling that way and you hear this song, and suddenly somebody else, you don't feel so alone. That he could reach into our hearts and say, "I've been there." I know what it feels like to be angry. I know what it feels like to be frustrated with everything around you, and feeling helpless, and what else is there to do but just to say it. That's healing. How beautiful to be able to take something negative like anger, and instead of directing it at somebody, or carrying it around, and allowing it to change who you are, instead to use it to create something to help heal somebody else.
a lot of those songs, like I'm just thinking, a lot of his songs in the last few months since January, when we've all been going through such a terrible time, those like Scream and when you or Tabloid Junkie or Money, like they're all like, but they've been so helpful. They've been really healing for us. I didn't know I'd ever need them, but they really do heal us. They're really beautiful. When I first bought Blood on the Dance Floor, like I didn't know his music before, but I didn't like it. I didn't like any of the songs on there. I wasn't used to that kind of music, and I thought, I don't think I'm ever going to like any of these. But now they're some of my favorites. Like, I love them so much. So, like, if I would have rejected that album and said, no, I'm not listening to it, I would have missed it. I would have missed the gift of all of those beautiful songs just because I wasn't used to it, or I didn't, it wasn't familiar. So we can't reject things because they're not familiar. We have to give them a chance and let them teach you what they're there to teach you.
Yeah, I really think the universe it operates that way. Everything that's happening around you, we always think of it in our environment. Oh, that person this, or if that person would whatever, or so and so cut me off in traffic, and it's always about us. It's everything in our environment is always an opportunity for us to reflect on ourselves and say, why does that bother me? Why does it get such a big reaction out of me? Why do I feel that way? And it's a gift, really. It's asking us to consult that and look at it and be aware of it. And when you're aware of it, you can start working on how to heal it. And then you don't have to be irritated by everybody who can't drive, or something your husband did, or whatever the weather's doing, or whatever ridiculous thing, or whatever Michael Jackson is doing on television. So
you don't have to avoid anything to make yourself keep yourself feeling good. You can face
and you're not
all
shifted.
Of life.
You're not emotionally shifted with everything that comes into your view.
It's sort of like taking your own power for your own feelings into your own hands, so that no one else can throw you off track. No one else can push you out of your comfort zone, out of your peace that you have inside, because it's part of you, and it's not dependent on what's outside there. That has to be a certain way for you to be happy, or to be comfortable, or to accept it. So it's really makes you free. It sets us free.
It's a life's journey, right? Or however many lives.
Yeah.
whatever you think.
There's always more things. Like, okay, I can handle anything, but if somebody hurts Michael, if somebody attacks Michael, then I really can't take it. But well, you know what? We can. We did. We are, and it's a huge gift that you could never imagine could ever have been a gift. Some crazy miracles that he brings.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. We turned on the camera and we had no idea what we were going to say. So the fact that something came out is really good.
Really good. So thanks, guys.
Thanks for listening. Love you. Talk soon.